Oh golly gee, I can't wait until the new Smash game comes out. I'm so excited to play as my favorite characters, such as Big Sword Man, Falco Punch Boy, Chompy Lad McGee, Boom Boom Man that no one likes, and a fat blob of goo that everyone else likes, I guess, and somehow survive the motherfucking apocalypse. Most importantly though, I can't wait until I hear the fans' opinions about this game by looking over the very high user reviews I'm sure it will receive on Metacritic.com TM. I mean, if it weren't for those, I wouldn't have bought Meme Run on my Nintendo Wii U, nor would I have Kingdom Come on me daddy so I could own the libs like everyone else. But I've been doing some research lately, and studies show that sometimes user reviews aren't the most helpful way to determine the quality of a video game. Shocking, I know. For the sake of Sakurai and crew, I pray that their audience is merciful this hunting season. But until then, let's relive one of those moments, cause that's what the focus group told me to do, right guys?
Even you're a faggot who sucks cocks from other faggots. Go back to faggot land, you fag-loving faggot who fags out and fags and fags fag.
Alright, thanks fellas. Let me know if that active shooter game is ever gonna get released.
You are a horrible person.
Times like these, I can't help but think of how Valve used to make games. But, well, you've heard this spiel before, so here's President Keemstar again.
My fellow Americans, as your President and Commander-in-Chief, it is with a heavy heart that I'm informing you that we have made a strategic decision to surrender to the alien invaders known as the Columbo.
Before Valve became content to sit on their endless sacks of blood money, they released a little-known game onto some Morn-G collection back in 2007 called Portal. Based on a project made by some dumb kids from DigiPen, the game was practically filler for the Orange Box until people picked up on it and made it the standout for its innovative gameplay and structure. I don't know if I'd call it my favorite game of all time, but it is as great as everyone says it is. It's tight, smart, and very, very funny. But as with many popular standouts, there are the annoying assholes who ruin the fun for everyone else. QED, Cake Companion, Triumph, blah 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 ad nauseum. Fast forward a few years later, Valve does some Valvey marketing by patching in weird crap into the PC release of Portal. And just as people started getting confused, they announced the sequel in the spring of 2010. People thought the announcement was going to be for Quarter Life Episode 3, but they were happy anyway. For now at least. A year, several weird teasers, and a few delays passed from there, and on April Fool's of 2011, Valve put out an AR game called The Potato Sack. It had a singular but complicated puzzle involving updates to 13 other games on Steam that players were encouraged to observe and solve by purchasing them all in this bundle and combing through them. As with many collaborative efforts with the internet, the puzzle was solved and the game was released 10 hours earlier than anticipated. Much rejoicing was held in celebration of this achievement, and gamers everywhere could now play one of the most anticipated games of the fucking decade. And then they actually played it. The game was barely a day old, and numerous protests against it from a multitude of peeps had already started cropping up all over the internet due to what they viewed as gargantuan and irredeemable flaws, and the negative user reviews piled up as well. Currently, that's hard to tell because these are what the scores look like now, but going through the archives and history of these pages, I can confirm there were some shenanigans to be had.
We now interrupt your scheduled programming for a brief section where Even will read some stupid-ass user reviews about Portal 2. Enjoy! Funny, but nothing more, only less than 6 hours. Valve must be kidding, even some of the features from the trailer were removed. Come on people, how long are we gonna take this crap? $60 for 5 hours. Seems there are too many Valve fanboys here. I played this game for half an hour and already beat it 6 times, do the math. I was waiting for this game for about a year. I'm a big fan of the original Portal. Actually, the game was okay, but it's not a sandbox anymore, like...
What?
Everything is scripted. If you throw the cue, it will have its head fall to the right place. The portal will open in the right place. Laser beam hits the target. This is why I still like Portal 2. The other side of the game is good. A+ high quality puzzle. Levels are hard enough but not too high. Interesting plot. My rank is 0 only because it's too scripted. I thought it was okay. 1 out of 10. Judging from all the critics swooning about this game for over a year, they had every intention of giving it the high score before it ever hit the public. It's as if they all met each other to have drinks, discussed, and colluded to make sure they all backed each other up in the reviews. This game probably deserves a 7, but even it out, I'm giving it a 0. PC Gamer declared it the best game of 2011, only a third through the year and within 12 hours of its release. WTF? Recommended. 107 hours on record. Hate to see proprior to per... Fuck it. Here's the translation. Meh, 8-hour demo, can't wait till the real game comes out. Edit, September 21st, 2016. Steam changed review to positive. Con artist Steam! Return to negative. 27 hours total. Also, these are the only 2 negative Steam reviews I could find within this date range. We now return to our regularly scheduled bullshit.
A lot of this was covered by several websites too, and look, let's be real, these reviews are incredibly stupid and most likely fake as all hell, considering a lot of this bubbled from 4chan, and I'm not very keen on validating these critiques. But there is some interesting stuff here surrounding these user reviews, and I suppose part of the Portal fanbase in general, so let's just assume these reviews are 100% genuine and represent the thoughts of these disappointed fans around the time the game came out. There are 4 specific themes that summarize the general reasoning for these negative reviews, and we'll be looking through each one individually and seeing if they're fair and justified, or they're not. Guess which one is which, and you get a prize. That prize being... Also, before anyone asks, yes, I've played Portal 2 in addition to the first one. We'll be getting more into that as we go along, but let's start with this arbitrary list of complaints with aesthetics. For this first subject, I felt it'd be inadequate to be lazy like I normally am and rip some side-by-side comparison video off of YouTube. I had to view these graphics with my own eyeballs. Luckily, I was gifted a 360 several months ago, so I just went to my local gamer refuel station and got me a used copy of Portal 2. I also got Sonic 06. Okay, how do these graphics look on this last-gen console? Well, yeah, it looks fine. Though, given the limitations of the console, there are some cracks. The textures are pretty blurry when viewed up close, the frame rate peaks in the upper 40s, the lighting isn't particularly dynamic or anything like that, and it really could have used an anti-aliasing option instead of... scratch that, it could actually just use more options in general here. It's still decent, mainly because the excellent physics are intact, but it most certainly has the visual quality of a high-end 2011 console game, and has aged about as well as one. Now we switch over to the PC version, of which I already had footage of thanks to the Even Games playthrough my buddy and I did for the game a few months back. Check that out in the meantime, it's pretty good, and subscribe. Even then I replayed a bit of the beginning of the game to get a better feel, and wow, there's no contest here. Frame rate is infinitely smoother, lighting is so much better, textures are higher resolution, the models are less blocky, it all looks great and knocks the console version out into the atmosphere. I'm pretty sure if I tried to run this on my 360, it'd burst into flames and burn my house down. With all that said though, in my humble opinion, the visuals are the least impressive, yet the least consequential aspect of the game. Every other aspect of the game is far more important than the graphics. No matter which version you're playing, the puzzles, the story, the dialogue, it's all here and all excellently done. The only thing that really matters here in regards to the visuals are the physics, because those are integral to the puzzles, and in both versions I played, they work perfectly. Unless it ran like complete shit, the graphics really don't matter much here at all. So yeah, this first complaint is a total bust. I really do have no idea what the hell these folks are on here. What could have happened is they probably saw PC footage on YouTube, and this was before 60 FPS was a feature on the site, so that might have contributed something to it. Or maybe they played the game themselves, and either their hardware couldn't handle it, or wasn't up to snuff for their top-tier PC games in 2011, so yeah, exaggerating how damn graphics look is completely justified there. Or, likely, they're just saying shit for the sake of saying shit. Which, I'm gonna go with that. This next one requires much less analysis and a more simple answer. Fuck no. You can once again check out my own playthrough of the series on EV Games, again you really should, but cutting out mistakes and other things, it took my buddy and I about 6 to 7 hours to beat the game, and neither of us had ever played through the whole way before. Even then, the average time according to these users is about 8.5 hours, and my favorite content creator ever took about 10 hours to beat it himself. Once again, I'm not sure what the heckos these geckos is speaking about. Follow-up question, why is length even a factor in this? The icing on the proverbial pie that is the first Portal game was that it was tight with its 2.5 hour runtime. It did what it needed to do and ended where it needed to end. Conversely, Portal 2, while still excellent overall, could have easily benefited from a bit of trimming, as some puzzles and sections in the story can feel kinda unnecessary in the grander scheme of things, specifically in the Wheatley sections during the third act of the game. So yeah, bottom line, this is also dumb and also pointless and also just factually incorrect. So what else you got for me, fellas? Now, I can kinda understand this one, especially if fans had actually participated in this potato sack thing. Buying all those games just for early access to Portal 2 was like getting a fast pass at King's Island on a day where all the lines are empty. There's also that one sequence from A Christmas Story, you know, the one about Little Orphan Annie and the secret decoder, that's also comparable, but someone else did that already, so I went with a personal example.
Son of a bitch.
I can certainly sympathize with this to a degree, but the thing is, I would never buy a bunch of other games in the hopes of getting a new one early, even if I was that game's biggest fan in the universe, because that's just fucking stupid. Brilliant as the marketing is, it's just marketing. You can get mad about it all you want, but you bought the game anyway, as did millions of other people, so it did its job. Last one deals with accusations that the game had DLC present from the beginning that total up to even more than what the game itself costs, and well, they're partially right. There was DLC present within the game, but these complaints make it sound like they think it's story-based DLC or some equivalent, and it isn't. All of the purchasable DLC is in the co-op mode, it was far less than the value of the game at the time, and it's all cosmetic, consisting of stupid hats and emotes. So not quite as greedy as they're trying to make it out to be, but these are still essentially microtransactions in a AAA price video game, so there is a bit of merit to these complaints, so this one gets the biggest thumbs up from me out of all of these. Begrudgingly. At least you can just ignore these ones, unlike some games I will definitely mention. So there we have it. We tore down some stupid user reviews on Metacritic. Hoorah! Gold star, purple medal, silver star, you did it. Now there is one last thing we have to take in consideration. The original price for Portal 2, which I didn't realize till I bothered to look it up, was $60 for console owners and $50 for PC users. Pretty standard stuff, but the game is now at least 20% that, sometimes even going as low as 2 smackaroos. So I've been thinking of these complaints without that in mind the whole time. All that said, do these user reviews have any more credibility with the original price tag in mind? No. Regardless of the price tag, this whole thing is just a bunch of fucking morons throwing shit at a wall. And their justifications for doing so, not that they need any in the first place, are incredibly weak. It's not an obviously completely broken mess that I ain't touching with a 50-foot rad roach like Fallout 76 is. But you also have to keep in mind that this kind of stuff doesn't tend to linger around much, especially with such a highly praised game. And, well, they're user reviews. They're usually not worth anything more than a cursory glance. However, Portal 2's controversy didn't end with its fans, or at least these kinds of fans. If you're in the know, you can probably guess where I'm going with this, but amidst all this commotion, something even more ridiculous slipped in the cracks. One of the game's elements is its humorous dialogue, and a recurring theme throughout that are various kinds of adopted or fat jokes at the expense of the player character. An example of such comes from Wheatley during the later parts of the game, where he has control of the whole facility and whatnot, and it's a very, very subtle one too. You might miss it if you're not paying attention.
Fatty? Adopted fatty? Fatty, no parents?
Well, this pissed off an adopted father of a Chinese orphan over in Charlotte, North Carolina, because he was playing the game with his kid, having tons of fun, and somehow missing the countless other fat and adopted jokes that had already been made, and then Wheatley goes,
Fatty? Adopted fatty? Fatty, no parents?
And then, well, I really couldn't tell if the kid was upset, because we didn't get anything straight from her, only her father, but that father was a 5 on the mad meter, and that's only a 4-point scale, so you know he's severely mad. So he called up his local CBS news station and said,
Fatty, adopted fatty, fatty, no parents.
and then after that completely random insult, told them about the game, and they ran a story on it. And I know this video has probably been going on longer than necessary, but, well, seeing this news clip is necessary.
Tonight, a father is shocked at the
This is a game that bills itself as educational. It's rated E for everyone. E for everyone. E for everyone.
Fatty, no parents.
Did you hear that?
No, sorry, I'm deaf. I didn't hear him say fatty, no parents.
It literally pokes fun for not having parents.
While Neil Shakespeare and Toastmasters have never hidden the fact that game is inappropriate for everyone 10 and up.
And it says rated E for everybody. E for everybody.
E for everybody.
If you are an adoptive parent, it was literally the worst thing I could possibly have heard.
Science has now validated your birth mother's decision to abandon you on a doorstep.
And I understand the story's drawing some criticism from the gaming community.
A lot of anger from the gaming community, Maureen. This is one line of hundreds in the game that are meant to be taken as funny, not serious. It's a... Hi, this is Brigida Mack.
You're a who sucks or mother. Let's go back to land, you loving who out and
I really don't have much else to say here, other than it was ridiculed by everyone who isn't an idiot, and then was forgotten about instantly. But I still wonder how exactly they missed these other jokes that happened before the offending one. Especially the one where GLaDOS says we're about to meet our parents, and then we don't because she was tricking us, and then she says they abandoned us at birth, so they probably didn't want us in the first place. Sure, that's more of an abandonment joke, but it's related, and a hell of a lot harsher. Now, we can mock this and the user reviews all day, but like this and the fan backlash, it would just be completely meaningless. So, in conclusion, Portal 2 is the worst game to have ever existed because it didn't set my 1080 Ti on fire, nor did it give me that happy ending I was promised. Also, if you're adopted, fuck you and fuck your adoptive parents for adopting you, you adopted piece of adopted shit that was adopted and is adopted. Thank y'all for watching, and if you're interested at all, probably not, I'm getting back into streaming over at twitch.tv/TheCrazyEven, usually twice a week on usually random days, and now I'm off to burn some orphanages using an ice cream van and a stolen joke, so I'll see you adopted twats later.